Hello folks, welcome to Poly Champions YouTube. Polytopia just got a major naval rework called Path of the Ocean. We'll go over how this update changes the game, not just the naval units, but things like bridges, markets, lighthouses, and so much more. Okay, let's go through the game update. First, let's talk about the tech tree changes. Sailing is now a Tier 1 tech. You can get on the water with a port, but you cannot harvest fish until you get the next tech. Ports cost 7 stars and give 1 population. When a troop moves onto a port, it becomes a raft. More on naval units later. However, Kiku starts with fishing, the Tier 2 version. Kiku has to buy sailing, the Tier 1 tech, to get ports and get on the water. Also, in this version, fish can spawn in deep water tiles. A new tech called aquaculture replaced the spot where whaling used to be. This tech allows aqua farms and a rammer unit. Like the land farms, aqua farms cost 5 stars and give 2 population. You can also build windmills next to aqua farms. Fishing is a Tier 2 tech that, in addition to harvesting fish, gives deep water movement and a naval unit called the Scout. Navigation allows the ability to harvest starfish, and you can build a unit called the Bomber. Starfish basically replaced whales, but now you have to move a unit onto the starfish tile to harvest it and get the 10 stars. Even if the starfish is within the borders of another tribe's territory, if you get there first, you can harvest it. Next, let's look at the naval units. Once a land unit goes into a port, it becomes a raft with the carry ability. Rafts cannot attack. They merely carry another unit inside. When a raft moves onto a land tile, the unit disembarks. Rafts can be upgraded to a rammer, scout, or a bomber if you have the right tech. Rammers require the aquaculture tech. Scouts require fishing, and bombers require navigation. Once you upgrade a raft to one of these 3 units, you cannot change it. Also, rafts cannot be upgraded outside your territory. You can only upgrade naval units in your own waters. As before, a naval unit's hit points equals the health of the land unit inside. So a warrior in a raft can become a 10 hit point scout, rammer, or bomber. A defender raft creates a 15 hit point naval unit. The scout unit replaces the sailboat. They have ranged attacks that can reach 2 squares. These units also have the scout ability, which means they have the vision that battleships used to have. Rammers do not have any ranged attack, only melee. Battleships are now bombers. With the splash ability and the area of effect attack, the bomber feels a little like a dragon. However, the bomber doesn't have dash, which means it cannot move and attack on the same turn. They also have the stiff trait. This means they do not retaliate when attacked. When a giant moves into a port, it becomes a juggernaut. These ships do not have a ranged attack. Instead, they have something called stomp. Stomp damages all enemies the Juggernaut moves next to. When a giant moves onto a port, or when the giant disembarks, it also does stomp damage. Cloaks and daggers work the same on the water. When a cloak goes into a boat, it becomes a dinghy. When a dagger is spawned on the water, or if a dagger moves into a port, it still becomes a pirate unit. There are a few significant balance changes in this update. Roads now cost 3 stars, but roads have a new option for bridge building. Bridges cost 7 stars and span 1 water tile, horizontal or vertical, and the bridge acts as a road. Naval units can move past bridges. Lumber hut costs also increased to 3 stars. Condolences to Hudrick and Barter. There are a couple new ways to get income. Parks now provide 1 star per turn in addition to giving points. Custom houses are now called markets. They give 1 star per turn for every adjacent port, forge, sawmill, or windmill. This market next to 1 windmill makes 2 stars per turn. If I add a port, the income doubles to 4 stars per turn. A market next to a windmill, sawmill, forge, and a port makes 12 stars per turn. That's the maximum a market can make. This means you can now use the trade tech on maps with no water. However, if you put 2 of the same building next to a market, it only gives credit for 1. Here, with 2 sawmills, the market gives 2 stars per turn. One last balance change. Swordsmen no longer have the fortify ability. Like giants, they cannot get a defense bonus in a city. And now a look at the map. Pangaea is a new map type that spawns all tribes on one large land mass surrounded by water. Pangaea has the same village spawn density as a drylands map, while also providing cities some coastal access. Although it's not new, Continents map is a bit different. It either puts tribes on their own continents or tries to equally distribute spawns on a handful of continents. Continents will often form with only 1 water tile separating the land. These are so-called rivers. Both Pangaea and continents are now coded, so capitals are more likely to spawn on the coast. What about the special tribes? Aquarion got some changes. The tribe now starts with the riding tech and an amphibian. Crabs now have 2 movement in the water and 1 on land, and 5 defense. Tridentians now have 10 hit points instead of 15, and amphibians and tridentians have lost the ability to use roads on land. Polaris also got some updates. Moonies now have the auto-freeze ability, but they must move to freeze their surroundings. In addition, the Moonie defense was reduced. Gammies now have 3 defense instead of 4. Also, Polaris Ice Bank now gives 2 stars per 20 frozen tiles instead of 3. As a new counter to Polaris, units with the dash ability can move and then break ice. For Cymanti, in addition to the fishing and pescatism techs being moved around to reflect the naval tech changes, Exidas now have 2 movement and the creep ability. Because there are no more whales, there are no more Navalons, which is a bummer for Illyrion. A couple of tasks are different. You no longer need the roads tech to get the Grand Bazaar monument. All you need is 5 cities connected to your capital, which can happen through ports or even outposts on ice. The Explorer task is a lot different. Instead of removing all the fog on the map, you get the Eye of God monument from uncovering all 4 lighthouses in the corners of the map. You cannot build on tiles with a lighthouse, but discovering a lighthouse adds 1 population to your capital. If you spawn in the corner with a T0 tribe that can upgrade your capital with your starting tech, a lighthouse gives 1 free population right away. This allows you to train a second warrior and get a workshop on your first turn. The other benefit to lighthouses is that you can see which tribes have found which lighthouse by the colored bars on the building. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. It helps us a lot. If you want to support Poly Champions directly, plus get channel perks, you can become a channel member by clicking the join button below. For more Polytopia game tips and expert commentary, click the links in the description. Join our Discord. The link to the Discord is also in the description. Take care. See you on the next one.